Hey, look, joining me now, as promised, everybody. I know you all been sitting there waiting. I told you the other day it was coming. Well, it's finally here. One of the most dynamic women that I know. She's a lawyer, an administrator. She's an author, and she has served as the First Lady of the United States from 2009 to 2017. She's married to the 44th United States President, Barack Obama, and is the first African-American First Lady. She's released an all-new book. It's called Becoming, and it's a story of hope, optimism, and a flame that just could not be extinguished. We miss her so. Put your hands together, and anything else you got that can clap for the First Lady, Michelle Obama.
Now that's it. I need you on the road with me.
Girl, take me.
You need to do that introduction at every venue. How are you, Steve?
Man, I'm doing fine. How are y'all doing? Are y'all having some fun?
We are. We actually are. I mean, you know, not having the weight of the world on your shoulders every day, you know, it's easy to have fun after that. You know, everything's a party, you know, just waking up. It's like, are you responsible for all that in the news? Nope. Okay, let's go back to sleep.
Man, and let me say something on behalf of all of us. And you can tell this to your husband. Man, we miss y'all.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus, we did not know how good y'all made it look.
Yeah, but Barack made it look easy, didn't he?
Man,
everybody thought I could do it. It's
man, you know what?
No,
he did it in such a way, and you did it in such a way. You had such an impact as the First Lady. Because let me just highlight some of the stuff that you did, okay? This is the effect you had on this country as the First Lady. Because of your programs, 45 million kids were eating healthier breakfasts and lunches. 11 million students were getting 60 minutes of physical activity every day, and you helped to persuade businesses to hire more than 1.5 million veterans and military spouses. All the while supporting your husband through his 2 history-making terms and raising 2 growing girls who I saw a photo of the other day. They were on the sofa doing an interview. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. They are gorgeous and smart. They took right after their mama. You've got to be proud of your accomplishments.
I am. And sometimes I think, you know, it was actually a couple of days ago, as the book was starting to leak and there were stories coming out, I emailed my staff, and we've been planning this tour and writing this book, and I was like, oh, my God, this is a big deal, you know? And they were like, you just now realizing that? And it's like, who do I think I am, writing a book, being First Lady? What's all this?
Coming up, more with the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, at 34 after the hour. All right, Steve, you can continue. This is great right here. Continue your conversation with Michelle Obama, our First Lady forever in our hearts.
You know what? Let's talk about the book a little bit.
This book has given me a moment to be able to step back and reflect on all that just happened. And yeah, it's yes, I am proud. I'm proud of my husband. I'm proud of us as a family, you know, and not just the girls, but Grandma, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we all got through this thing, and I think, you know, we did okay. So
No, you did way beyond okay. And I don't think we appreciated it fully until you left, because your husband made it look effortless. What a class, but what a class family. And, you know, this is really just uplifting the Obamas, because, man, you all were something that the nation could be proud of as a family in the White House. And for that, we just say thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Steve, and thank you. Thank you to you and to your listeners, because, you know, you can't be great unless you got a great support system, and we've had that from the beginning. So, you know, I want to thank everybody who said a prayer for us and who worked for us, and everybody who voted in these past midterm elections. Voting does matter, by the way.
Does.
Let's not let that slip by.
No.
Voting matters. So, but thank you for that, Steve. That's very kind of you.
This is like an amazing. First of all, It's going to sit at number one on the New York Times bestseller list for 16 weeks minimum. It could be more because I think this book is what we've been waiting for. Like you said, who do you think you ought to write a book? Well, I'll tell you what, it's the book we've been waiting on. Because in this new book, Becoming, you talk so beautifully about the community that you grew up in, the importance of your family. Can you share a little bit about the role of your family and how it played and how your life unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, I say the book is a story of an ordinary life lived in an extraordinary way, because how I grew up, as you know, is how millions of black folks grew up. You know, we grew up in a community, you know, where we lived with our family, and our family was everybody. It was aunts and uncles and grandparents, and, you know, there was bidwits and jazz and barbecue and, you know, love. And that's what fueled us, and expectation, you know. Even though my parents didn't go to college, my grandparents didn't go to college, they held up a high bar for us as people. And, you know, we always felt an obligation to live up to that. I mean, to see my father, who was disabled from the time I could remember him, you know, and seeing him getting up and going to work every day without complaint. I've talked about this throughout my time in politics. You know, it's hard to be half-baked when you are raised in a house by a man like that, you know. And every day, Steve, I live to make my family proud and my community proud. But there's nothing new. You know this. You know, there are communities like the one I grew up in all over this nation. It's just important for us to tell our stories, because I think people think we don't exist. You know, they've got one image of what it means to be black. They don't know that we are so complex, and we are so faithful, and that we are so linked to our family. You know, and that's why I'm proud to tell my story, because I want people to know all of who I am, so that they're not mistaken at all. Wow. And this book, you know, I try to make it a story, so that it's not just a chronology of things, but it's a story of this little girl, Michelle Robinson, who grew up on the South Side with a big brother, and she got into some fights, and she had some challenges, and she went to public school, and she got hit in the mouth by a bully, and it's a set of stories that I hope take people along a journey, because I get that question all the time. It's like, how did a girl from the South Side of Chicago wind up as First Lady of the United States? And this is the answer to that, at least as I can see it.
Michelle, hold on one second. We'll be back with more Michelle Obama right after this. Don't go nowhere.
Coming up at the top of the hour, right about 4 minutes after, it's today's Strawberry Letter. The subject, my wife and kids. All right, Steve, you can continue your conversation with Michelle Obama.
You know what? You said something a minute ago. You said that your parents raised you and they set the bar high. That has to be a part of what has now become your famous slogan that says, when they go low, we go high. That's got to be behind that.
Well, you know, it is, you know, because it's not just the house we lived in, the community. We lived with values, you know. My parents lived out the values that they believed in. Your word, your bond, you know. They kept their word. When they promised us something, they made it happen. If they couldn't do it, they put it out on the table. You know, my father was the kind of father, you know, my brother asked him, were we rich one day? And he went and he got his paycheck, cashed it all, got it all in ones, brought it down on the kitchen table, and laid out all the bills that he had to pay. And he put money down on each bill to cover it. And then he showed my brother what was left after all the bills were paid. And then he said, now you tell me, do you think we're rich? That's the kind of teacher my father was. You know, he wasn't in your face. He loved us deeply. And the other thing for me, Steve, and I want the men to hear this. For me, having a father and a brother, men in my life who adored me, and respected me.
Mm.
When my brother learned to box, I learned to box. When my brother learned to throw a ball, I learned to throw a ball.
Mm.
I was not a second-class citizen among the men in my household. I was an equal. My voice meant something to my father.
Wow.
And it's important for men out there to understand, Steve, you know this as a father to daughters, having a strong man who loves you deeply and a brother who loves you deeply, who would do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that armed me and equipped me and made me ready for anything.
Wow. That does give you something special, doesn't it? Because and what you're saying is really important, because it's important for men to understand that even if your relationship with your child's mother is strained, the importance of you remaining active and available in that child's life is absolutely priceless.
Yeah. And it is particularly priceless for the girl. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter for sons, but
right.
Me having strong men in my life, role models, and I was fortunate. I had men all around me. Both my grandparents, my grandfathers were alive. I grew up with them. My uncles, I had tons of uncles, tons of male cousins. Our best cousins were two boys, and we would box and roll around, and, I was right up in there with them. And I think that gave me a level of confidence, when I had to go out in the world and tackle things that, I knew I could hold my own.
Wow.
And sometimes we underestimate that. And I think it's important for, parents out there, especially when you're wondering how do you raise strong girls, they need to have strong men in their lives who love them and take care of them and nurture them. I think about the number of girls who grow up and suffer from abuse, whether it's physical or emotional. They suffer at the hands, and that causes a ding in the psyche of a woman that can really mess us up. So they got to be protected growing up. And I had that.
Yeah. Let me ask you one other question, because I know you're busy. I know you're pushing everything. How'd you come up with the title Becoming?
It just appeared. I was sitting down with the team of folks that I would bounce stuff off of, and we were like, we got to come up with a title for this book. We played around. I was starting to do like a blooper reel of titles, but we never wrote them down. And one of the folks said, "What about Becoming?" And immediately I was like, that's it, because that's what the story is. It's, becoming is, it's constantly evolving. That's what what I'm trying to sort of explain in the title, that we never reach a place where we just are and that's it. I start the book off where, when I'm little, I say one of the questions I hate the most is, what are you going to be when you grow up? It's the dumbest question you can ask a kid, as if you grow up and become something and that's the end. It's not finite. Life is a continuum, and I find that I'm evolving now. I haven't become all that I'm going to be. I've got a whole other chapter or two left.
Exactly.
And how sad would it be if there wasn't more left?
Wow.
So we are all in the process of becoming. So that's where it came. It just all seemed to fall into place.
No, I think that's absolutely it. I feel the same way. I watched this video of you about this upcoming book. I watched this 10-minute video. I was so moved by it. I think Becoming is the perfect name for the book. I think it's going to inspire so many people. And what I want people to know is that this book is available today. It's in both print at every bookstore that sells books, and it's in digital formats. So Kindle, Amazon, however you do it, you can download the book on iTunes. It don't matter. You can go get it. And it's published.
I recorded the book myself.
Oh,
so
you did the voice? I tried that. They stopped me after 40 minutes. Michelle, they stopped me after 40 minutes. They said, sir, you can't sound like that. I wasn't talking proper enough. They had to cut off mine. They stopped.
They were
mine.
like, "What is that? No, we can't understand that."
Yeah. Look here don't sound good if you done bought it. Yeah, look here is not for digital.
It's not in the book. That's not in the English dictionary. Well,
you know what?
I recorded the whole book. I got through the whole thing.
You know what? I'm gonna get the audio then because that would be fascinating for me. I'm gonna get the audio.
I want you to get it, and then I want you to tell me what you think. Because I'm sending you a copy for sure.
Well, do it because I'm gonna chop it up and put excerpts on the radio show. Oh, you called the right man. I'm finna blow this up. I ain't got nothing else to do. I ain't read but 6 books.
Well, you don't have anything else to do, Steve. You got like 800 jobs.
Girl, I'm trying to get. I'm like you. I'm becoming. I'm trying to get myself together. And
you were trying to become everything.
Man, I need it because I found out something. I was having a real allergic reactions, and I didn't know it. And I discovered it about, I think it's maybe 20 years ago, 15. I'm actually allergic to poverty. And it was causing me so many problems. I said, I got to end this. And so I just started saying yes to everything. Hey, listen, we're going to get this book. The book is Becoming. It's available today in both print and digital formats. It's published in 24 languages. We have a copy of it. Michelle Obama, we miss you, your husband, and your family. Lord have mercy. We wish y'all was back, but then I really don't, because I want you all to take this phase of your life and go and do something else and enjoy it. And we'll deal with whatever's left. We'll make it work. We love you.
There'll be a lot left. Thank you, Steve. I love you so much.
Thank you so much. Michelle Obama, everybody. First Lady in the building.